Skip this intro. Welcome back to Red Hood Movie Reviews, and this week we have an Oscar contender. The summer's over, the Oscar movies are coming in, and this one's called One Battle After Another. In this movie, it has Oscar pedigree written all over it, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, and it's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. So it's got a lot going for it right out of the gate. So it's got everything the Oscars usually slobber all over. It's got the all-star cast, the all-star director. Everything in this is very topical, very now. It's got terrorism. It's got an oppressive army regime. It's got immigration and ICE stuff in there. So it's everything they cream over. So Leo in this movie is part of like a weather underground terrorist group trying to be freedom fighters, trying to free immigrants and all this from these cages. And he has a kid, but he loses the mom. Next thing you know, he's on the run for like 15 years and he's such a big part of this terrorist group that they're still looking for him. So Leo's kind of like a Big Lebowski character-ish in this movie. You know, he's the type of guy whose revolutionary days are over. He just wants to sit on his couch, smoke a J, raise his kid. But this revolutionary group is still out there. Some guy gets busted, his name comes up, and oops, he's like back on the run all over again. Interestingly, in this movie, there is a racist secret society that worships St. Nicholas. Hail St. Nick. And also there's a convent of weed-growing nuns. And this isn't done in like a wacky way because, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio wants that Oscar again real bad. So it's done in a serious way, even though it's highly unusual. The St. Nicholas racist group, they're kind of interesting enough where they could have had their own movie. I don't know who thought of that, but it's just weird and brilliant. And that was one of the best things about the movie. Now here's the catch. And this is a catch with a lot of Oscar movies. It's almost 3 hours long. So, I'm not saying you should see it in the theaters. I would wait until this comes home. I can guarantee you this is going to be an Oscar movie, so that by the time the Oscars roll around in like February or whenever they do them now, you'll actually be able to probably stream this at home when you really want to see if he's going to win, or if anybody else in this movie is going to win, because there's going to be a lot of talk probably when this comes. So, I say see it, but I say wait for streaming. That way you can either break it up or you can just take your time at home. Next up on Red Hood Movie Reviews, we've got a Stephen King movie for you. It's called The Long Walk. And you know, I had to think about it for a little bit. I was like, oh, it's a horror movie. It's about walking. Is this like the Hunger Games of walking? Because each contestant comes from their own state. So there's 50 kids walking. How far do you actually think you could walk? Could you walk 100 miles? Could you walk 200 miles? How about 300 miles? You see how this goes. It keeps going and going. It's a race that doesn't have any end. It's a race until they're all dead and there's one left remaining. So that's the setup. You just keep walking until you can't anymore. And the prize at the end of this is supposed to be, you know, you get more money than you could ever need. You'll be taken care of and you get one singular wish. And I'm not sure what year this takes place in. It's very conflicting whether or not it's like some sort of post-apocalyptic era, because the cars are all like from the 60s and even the TV equipment looks old. But then while they're talking, they just kind of randomly drop that, oh, I'd really like an Orange Julius right now. And I don't think those have been around forever. And it has a lot of good characters in it. It's got the idealistic poor kid, the douchey hippie. It's got, of course, it's a Stephen King movie, so it's got the kid from Boston, who in this one just so happens to be an Asian kid, which is weird to see him with a thick Boston accent. It's got the army brat. It's got the kid who wants to be a journalist. There is a good eclectic mix of good characters. And you know it's a good movie, and this is a good movie, when you actually want to go check out the book from what it came from, because I would like to see how it's different or where this all came from. One thing I did find strange about this movie is there is like one character, a pretty main character, that seems to never get bothered by all this walking. That's the one thing I found odd in this movie, is like they're walking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles, and this guy just kind of keeps on like, hey, he doesn't look, he looks fine, and everybody else around him, like if you had walked hundreds of miles, they're like sweat stained, they're blistered feet, they're dragging ass, they look sick, like, you know, and he just meanwhile was like, walking along. That was the only thing I had a problem with. But overall, we got a Stephen King movie that has a novel concept. It's got good characters. Of course, it's Stephen King, so there's hardcore violence in this. It's got an interesting villain in the Sarge. You'll get a real kick out of him and what happens to him, and how, and there's stuff about him that you don't see coming. It's really good. I would say check it out. Okay, so for the throwback review this week, we've got a movie I found for $1 in the dump bins at the Goodwill. It's called Caged in Paradiso, starring Irene Cara, who was a singer. She sang that song Hooked on a Feeling. I think it was in Fame, something like that. You can figure it out. The reason why I picked this movie, I found this at Goodwill, and along, like in the bins with it, was like, it must have been her manager or something that had dumped all this stuff off. She's dead now. Because there was stuff in there that was like talking about like what she needs backstage for, it was like, she wants 2 Diet Coke. She wants a box full of M&M's. It was like clearly somebody at like some venue, and there was all these weird little notes in there. I probably should have kept all the like garbage that came along with it. So even the movie starts off interesting. During the credit scene at the beginning, it has like B-roll of some exotic like Hawaiian looking island. It's very pleasant, and it's got this pretty cool Casio keyboard score. And then when the credits are done, it immediately smash cuts to a urinal, and there's a guy peeing, and then he walks over to the mirror, and he's like all sweating. He's got this really tense face, like he took a shit. So why is he so tense? You find out right away. In his briefcase, he's got some sort of homemade bomb in there, and he gets in the elevator and has the most tense 4-floor ride. I guess it's not a tall building. And there's this woman with her child in the elevator, and she's all like clutching him, like she can instantly tell this guy is somehow bad. So there's this tense elevator ride. He waits till she leaves. He sets up the bomb, and then he goes to leave. And you'd think it'd be as easy as just like walking out the door, but for whatever reason, there's a security line and a metal detector to go out of the building. I've never seen that anywhere, but that's what happens. And of course, he's obviously not able to keep it together. He's sweating and sweating and sweating, and the security guard gonna be like, what's up with this fucking dude? He wants to look in his briefcase, and there's this tense moment of opening this briefcase, which is weird because there's nothing in there. It's in the elevator, but he set the timer on the bomb to go off in 60 seconds. So of course he panics, and instead of just running out the door, he jumps out through this giant plate glass window, attracting everybody's attention. The bomb goes off. His getaway driver freaks out and speeds off. So he's the world's worst terrorist, right? Well, apparently he killed 60 to 65 people. I didn't see him in this movie, but that's what you learn on the TV broadcast that it cuts to. And that TV broadcast is playing in the bedroom of Miss Irene Cara. And it turns out maybe that getaway driver was her husband. Oops. Police kick in the door. Bing, bang, boom. She's under arrest. He's under arrest. They're run through a quick trial, and they're off to Paradiso, the prison island. And if you're thinking, oh, Paradiso, such a clever name for a prison island. Well, don't worry, because immediately after they get sentenced there, it's going to cut to 2 politicians in a room clinking champagne glasses, like backlit, like some sort of supervillain, just kind of like cackling about what they've set up, and that this is all like, haha, they're going off to hell. They'll never escape. And apparently the island is somehow surrounded by a space laser that, like, if you try to swim off, oops, you get zapped. So that's how they can't escape this island. So they get flown over the island. They get handed a parachute. They get booted right out. They have to fall down to the island. And of course, once they get to the island, there's already prisoners there. There's already these lifers there who've set up their tribes and shit. And it's pretty amusing that, because like right off the bat, there's this one big guy who gets kicked out, and he's a new prisoner on the island, and you first see him, he's just like standing on the shore, skipping rocks into the ocean, kind of looking contemplatively, and these guys who have their own like gang tribe of stuff, they come up to him and they're like, yeah, we give you the choice of like, you can either fight with us or die, or you could become our slave in the field. And this guy just walks up to the leader and snaps his neck right away, and I guess he's in charge now. And the movie is kind of filled with weird, funny characters like that. Like there's a scene that you'll get a laugh out of where a guy just keeps getting shot with like these darts that are supposed to make you pass out, and it kind of reminded me of, I forget if it was The Simpsons or The Family Guy, where he's like, 3 darts is too many. Because he gets hit with like 7 darts, and you could see him getting slower and slower with each different dart that's hitting him, and he's not going down because he's such a big dude. It's hilarious. And half the movie is Irene Cara running around looking for her husband because they got split up when they parachuted out. And, you know, half the movie is her looking and he's surviving. And that part is kind of drags a little bit in the, you know, drags throughout the movie. But I kind of wish that somebody would remake a movie like this, because it's so dumb and it's such a weird plot. I could almost see it being like a big dumb action movie if somebody was to like 300ify it. It has the most dumb ending I've seen in a while. I don't want to spoil it for you. So if you're into these kind of dumb, forgotten movies, check it out. Currently, it's streaming on Crunchyroll, if you have Crunchyroll, and on something called Plex. I don't know what that is, but it's a free service. So if you're interested in movies that are weird and forgotten, check it out. Hey, hold on, give me a second. Hey, thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching Quiet Corner TV, Red Hood Movie Reviews. You keep coming back, I'll keep watching, and I'll keep talking. Talk to you later.